Can you guys see my screen? Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yishel and I'm the founder of Dot. I have almost a decade of experience in business development and working with healthcare organizations, specifically children with mental disabilities. I've seen children being misdiagnosed, suffer side effects of strong medication, and I've also seen parents struggle to navigate through healthcare systems to find the right treatment. There's a global problem of mental disorders being grouped together and diagnosed using questionnaires, one fit all approaches. It just doesn't work. To address this issue, my team and I at DOT have developed a wearable headset that reads brainwave activity and provides diagnosis and therapy for different mental disorders. We are on a mission to help 1 billion children and young adults facing mental health issues, starting with the condition of attention deficiency hyperactive disorder. So while surveying families with ADHD, I met Jacqueline. Jacqueline realized there's something wrong with her son at a very young age. She was embarrassed to take him into public. She started getting complaints from teachers, and that's when she decided to get him tested for ADHD. Navigating through the healthcare system took another 2 years before receiving a confirmed diagnosis. It took several more years to find the right treatment. Michael, on the other hand, started failing at school. He felt lonely and withdrawn. Medication didn't work for him. He developed other psychiatric problems. Similar to Michael, there's 1 billion individuals worldwide who are affected with this condition, and this creates an economic burden of $5 trillion. Here in Canada, there are roughly 1.2 million children who are diagnosed with this condition, and our primary goal in the first few years is to reach 15,000 children, translating to a service obtainable market of $18 million. So let's take a look at the current system. The current status quo of diagnosing a mental health condition like ADHD is based on this exact questionnaire. It's subjective. Treatment is through trial and error of medication, some of which have horrific side effects: anxiety, seizures, tremors, paranoia, and these medications are being given to children under the age of 10. The current system is error-prone. Misdiagnosis is on the rise, medication have detrimental side effects, and it's inefficient. As you saw in the case of Michael, 5 precious years of his life were wasted before receiving a diagnosis. Our solution is efficient, accurate, and affordable. We give the diagnosis within minutes. The diagnosis is based on the individual's own EEG data, so it's accurate and it's at a fraction of the cost. Our product combines both hardware and software. Using the headset, we read the individual's brainwave activity and run clinically established algorithms to form a diagnosis. And the headset only needs to be worn for under 5 minutes for this diagnosis to take place. Prior to launching, we had conducted preclinical research at McGill University on over 1,000 individuals to develop our IP. And as of our alpha launch overseas in 2019, we have not only enhanced our algorithms using clean patient data, but also completed over 300 child development assessments with our headset with an accuracy to diagnose the condition of ADHD of that of 92%. Our clinician-facing platform is called Neuron, which empowers healthcare practitioners through the automation of diagnosis, therapy, and management for their customers. We're providing immense value for both the healthcare system as well as the patient. Our vision for our product is to be sitting in the offices of family physicians and pediatricians, and it can help increase throughput at these facilities because now the legwork or the paperwork required to form a diagnosis is gone. So they can receive a diagnosis at their point of care rather than being referred to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. This helps increase throughput at healthcare facilities. It also helps increase revenue for healthcare practitioners, but this is more applicable to the US market than in Canada. It helps reduce wait times to see a specialist. We help lessen the burden on the healthcare system here in Canada. DOT has been built by a team of experienced neuroscientists, medical researchers, as well as engineers. I'm an electrical engineer from McGill University, and my partner, Dr. Rashida Chaudhary, is a PhD neuroscientist. We have doctors and neuroscientists on board both locally and in the international market. We have strategically aligned ourselves with advisors with expertise in regulatory, healthcare networks, as well as business development experts. Our most recent addition are Dr. Albert Chu, who is a pediatric neurosurgeon at CHIO and also our clinical champion at the hospital for facilitating our validation study, and Dr. Brian Whitestone, who is a surgeon and expert in commercialization strategies for medtech companies. Now, onto our commercialization journey, we're focused on two critical stages: the limited market release and the full market launch. Over the past several years, we've been laying the groundwork for our pre-marketing activities, engaging key opinion leaders, undergoing preclinical studies, as well as launching overseas to collect data. We are now in our limited market release, transitioning from a prototype to the real world. For this, we have identified our pilot site as the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, and our focus is on gaining real-world insights as well as showing value to these healthcare systems. Looking ahead, our limited market release stage will evolve into a full commercial launch. It is here that our product will reach a broader audience backed by extensive marketing and business strategies. On our product roadmap, we've successfully completed phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 encompasses the foundational work where we focused on initial user testing, created our diagnostic prototype. From there, we moved on to phase 2. This was a period of real tangible progress and collection of real-world data. During this phase, we manufactured the headset, added gamification to our platform, launched the platform overseas, and began our limited market release activities here in Canada. We're also developing our IP strategy, which consists of publishing and patenting our technology. We will be filing for design patents for the hardware alongside patenting our diagnostic software, for which we will require funds. Sorry. I do want to mention that at the end of phase 2 of our limited market release, we will be revenue generating. And as we move forward, we're looking on to phase 3. This phase will focus on refining our hardware, obtaining regulatory approvals, and safety certifications. And finally, in phase 4, we will finalize our reimbursement strategy, which is super important for the US market, as well as brand and commercialization strategies, and prepare for a full commercial launch. We're also looking for strategic advisors to help us develop these strategies. I do want to mention that up until this point, this venture has primarily been funded through non-dilutive means, including grants, awards, and personal investment. And while I am proud of the progress we've made so far, I also recognize that there is a need for additional investment to realize our plans for phase 3 and phase 4. Over the past several years, these are the organizations that have helped us achieve grants and awards and facilitated our development. And so far, we've raised close to $500,000 through non-dilutive funds. For our pricing strategy, we've opted for software as a service subscription model. This subscription is currently priced at $500 monthly. Our pricing strategy involves bundling our hardware with our subscription, and this pricing will be tested during our limited market release. The price points for a full market launch or full commercial launch and other segments are yet to be determined. It is worth noting that conventional EEG diagnostic systems come with a much higher price point, upwards of $50,000, without any innovative AI integration or other products that are portable or can be used remotely. Our projections indicate that by the end of 2027, we will reach sales of 4.5 million that significantly outweigh our costs, suggesting a profitable and sustainable business model. We have taken into account the time it takes to complete clinical validation, get regulatory approvals, as well as certify our hardware to serve the healthcare systems, which is why you see a slow and steady growth, starting from 20 customers in 2024, reaching 60 customers in 2025, 100 customers in 2026. I do want to mention in 2026 is when we will have received our FDA approvals, our regulatory approvals, and that's when we'll be raising our seed round to scale up. Unfortunately, the most affordable and common solutions out there are the least effective. The status quo of diagnosing mental health conditions through multiple questionnaires is at the bottom of the list. We are tapping into an unserved market of serving low-cost effective solutions. Today, we're seeking a pre-seed investment of $500,000, and a portion of these funds would be used to patent our technology, which is critical for us securing competitive advantage prior to any publications. A significant portion would be invested into R&D, which include the clinical studies happening at CHIO currently. We will also develop our AI algorithms, establish data security, which is utmost important in this regulated industry of healthcare, and also improve our hardware. We will also be hiring a regulatory consultant who will help develop our regulatory strategy and obtain approvals aligning our clinical data collection processes with our commercialization strategies. Zooming out, I do want to mention Neuron for ADHD is just the tip of the iceberg. Neuron's ability apply to all and every mental health condition, and we will become the pioneers of data-driven approach in mental health. My name is Yishel, and I'm the founder of Mind Unlock. Thank you.
Thank you, Yishel. Great job. All right. Over to Nolan and Kathy. Nolan, do you want to start off this time?
Sure. Yishel, much better than was it 2 weeks ago? It was like very, very clean, very linear. Yeah, like night and day. So good job. Yeah, so I guess like a few small comments. I think the most awkward kind of transition or piece was going from, you show the slide, that's the impact that you've had on your kind of initial trials, and then you just kind of flip into a B2B solution, right? And I'm not sure, because those are kind of two different things. I think it's a little bit of, you showed this really cool outcome, like our product actually works. It's amazing. Like we built a hardware product, launched it, it worked. We did this for less than $1 million, which is also very impressive. Like I think it's like you've almost got to brag about those accomplishments and then talk about why you did it and why that will help you achieve these next kind of milestones. I don't have a like more direct idea of how to do that.
So you're talking about this slide to this slide, right?
Yeah, sorry, your slide deck disappeared and I see a beautiful
yeah, it kind of slid off to the side.
Okay, well, let me be sure it then. I thought I was oh my god, what am I doing? Can you see now?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I'm talking about, slide 15 to 16, like that was just it was very, like your first 15 slides were really, really smooth. Like the story worked well. You hit a lot of the problem, and then that was just a kind of a weird jump of going like, we're building this like hardware thing. Now it's a B2B solution for the doctors, right? And I don't have the right suggestion, but I think you've got to find a way to massage and just keep building on. Like I said, this slide 15 is really, really impactful. It's like you're really showing we didn't put a lot of money in. It actually worked. You talked about going overseas, and is that a reason like you could get data in a less regulated environment? Is that sort of the approach? Yeah. And like that's not uncommon for health tech startups to do that. And so don't be afraid to admit to that. And say like that will help us get regulatory approval here in Canada. It was a huge learning experience, and now we're so ready to kind of take on the next step in our journey. It's just got to build from there.
So just a quick comment there. Like, so Neuron, the product that we built, was an outcome of doing the studies overseas. So initially we just had the headset and an app on a tablet. And then the feedback that we received from the clinics, because we were working with clinics over there. So Neuron was born out of that. So should I
Exactly. Okay, there you go. There's your link, right? I think like even just that piece of the story was missing. It's like, so we showed that it worked, but we realized for us to have impact, we had to take, and then maybe you need to throw in one more slide in between, just kind of making that bridge there. I don't know how you were for time, but it definitely felt shorter than last time.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes. So you've got time.
Okay. Yeah. So perfect. So another slide in there to make that bridge, to talk about the impact and even spread out this data from it. Like there's a lot of information still on this slide, and the cute, leave the cute kids. Absolutely. Make us feel for the impact there. Like that. I think I'm looking at my notes, that's really my main comment is this transition to make it a little bit tighter. I'll repeat my comment about having advisors listed who could be investors who are not investors, unless they plan to invest on your existing round.
Yeah, so I did go back to the advisors. Like I mentioned, Brian was just added this year, less
Yeah.
than 4 or 5 years ago, and he is willing to invest, which is why I asked him if I should leave him on the pitch deck, and he said, "Leave me on the pitch deck." Yes.
Okay. And I hope you told him Nolan was giving you a hard time for that.
I did mention that.
Good. Yeah, and I think, sorry, my other comment, and it was later in the pitch, but like you said, like you guys have only invested 500K, and I think just like anytime you can build a physical hardware product, launch it and make it work and have the actual impact, like that's really, really well done. Like there are not a lot of companies that are able to do that for less than $1 million. And again, yes, you're not generating revenue yet, you're not doing it, but it's like it worked. So brag about that a little bit. It's like we've come so, and even like you're raising for another 500K, it's like, and you're probably going to leverage another bunch of non-dilutive sources with that 500K. So maybe mention that in your raise. It's like, you know, we're going to raise 500K, we're going to go get some more grants, and then that will, you know, look at all we've done with 500K. Imagine what we can do with another $1 million. And I think that should give the investors a little bit more confidence of your ability to execute.
And that should be around here somewhere.
I think so. Like you can even mention it earlier. Like we've only put in, like when you're talking about the results of what you've done, you can even like drop it in there and then drop it in again when you are asking for more money, or when you're talking about the non-dilutive sources.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I do actually have to run. I've got to go get my kids at school.
Thanks, Nolan. Really appreciate you joining in here today.
Well done, both of you. Keep up the great work.
Thanks. Have a great weekend. Okay, Kathy, over to you.
Great job, Yishel. I agree with Nolan. It's you've taken some of the feedback and really integrated it well. The intro was really great. It's really clear right from the beginning that you've created a combination of a hardware and software solution to do both diagnosis and therapy. And then also incorporating the story of the mom and son really helps to make it punchy. That's great. One of the things, and it's related to what Nolan said about the first neuron chart.
Yeah.
And I had noted it before, but you know, from the beginning of the problem description, almost all the way through, you're really focused on the diagnosis part and not really so much about the therapy piece and the value of the therapy. And so I really feel like you don't even need to wait to introduce Neuron until you start to talk about the impact. That's part of your end-to-end product solution today. It's both diagnosis and therapy. And so I feel like you could bring that forward, and then it could be both the diagnosis and the therapy can be threads all the way through the presentation.
So move this slide up potentially?
Yeah, I would talk about, that part of the solution is first accurate diagnoses. And then the second part of the solution is an ongoing therapy option that improves the effectiveness of the medication, or perhaps avoid the need for medication in some cases because of the accuracy of the diagnostic part of your solution.
Yeah.
You know the integration better than I do. So, I think there'd be a lot of value in that. The other thing is related to the math. So if you go back to the product, the first market chart, that shows, can you make it a little bit bigger so I can see it? Yeah, 15,000 children. Okay, so this is the other bit that throughout this, so who's buying your product?
So the product is meant to be for healthcare practitioners. So for example, in Canada, it would be the healthcare organizations such as CHEO, who are going to buy our product. Whereas in the US, we're going for private practitioners. So it'll actually be the clinic owners who have their own clinics who'll be buying the product. So it's for physicians essentially.
It's for physicians. So when you're talking about the market, I would talk about the physicians, right? Who's like the market that you're going after are the medical facilities who are diagnosing children with ADHD. It's not the children and it's not the parents. That's a nice story at the beginning to show the value and why this isn't going to be important to the doctors. But when you're talking about the market, you need to talk about who's actually buying. Because when I did some math here, you know, if you divide 18 million by 15,000 children, you're looking at about $1,200 per child. But that's not really your market. So for example, you know, I'm assuming that the same headset can be reused across many children once it's cleaned after a use. And then the same thing is true for the software. You'd have one platform and maybe seat licenses for all of the patients, you know. So yeah, focus more on who, when you're talking about the market and even your growth strategy, focus a lot on who's actually going to be buying the product.
That's a good point. I always thought about that. I'm like, should I make the Tam Sam Psalm about the children we're impacting, or should it be about the practitioners we're selling to? So that helps clarify that.
Yeah, well, because it's really, so that you talk about all of that in your impact chart, right? Which is awesome because it's so, and even in the, at the beginning, when you're talking about the mom and the son and the difficulty getting accurate treatment, like that story is so good. So it's really an underpinning that you're impacting children in a positive way. But when you're starting to talk about the business, so the market opportunity for the business, who you're selling into, who your ideal customer is, and then how much you're going to make off of each one of those per year for the headset and the software subscription, that's where you focus on the physicians.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, but great job, both of you. It's a joy. This is my third probably time with you, Sophia, and it's probably about my third or fourth time with you now, Yishel. So really great job, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you
just
so
have
much.
one more question, sorry, before, because we right now we've had several meetings with this potential client in the US who wants to license our technology, and I'm just waiting to receive that paperwork. And they're going to give me a licensing fee, and then they're going to order the headsets, and then it's my responsibility to produce it and send it. Then they're going to be the distribution arm in the US. Should I bring that up during this pitch, or should I just not mention that up until it's finalized?
You could probably show a traction chart. Well, you do talk about your traction, right? That you're in trials with CHIO.
Yeah.
So this is limited. So this could be part of this limited market release that you've got CHIO, and then you could talk to the other.
Yeah, that's this one, Vitalis Health.
Yeah, you can provide some more color to that if you want.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
Welcome.
super. Just gonna